of seconds here. Good morning, everyone. This is Michael. I just want to go over the recap for the morning session, and invite everyone who is in here on a trial to become a partner. Anyone who has not taken the trial, go to cfrn.net/apply. That's www.cfrn.net/apply, APPLY, and you can take a trial to use our indicators and the platform and everything. 5 days, 5 business days, that is, to sit in a live trading room with us and watch us do everything you're going to see right now, live, real time. All right, let's start off with the results. Okay, Dwayne took a trade this morning on the naked 2100 tick. He got 2 points out of it. Okay, with one contract, 2 points. I took a couple of trades. I took one on the YM. I lost 7 ticks on it, but with 8 contracts, so I lost 56 ticks. On the one trade that I took there, I took another trade that was break even. It had actually gone all the way down and got me at break even on, it had given me 8 ticks profit. 8 or 9, I think, ticks profit. And I took another trade on the Russell this morning that I had an execution issue with, but it had given me, I think, 32 ticks profit at one point, but I ended up getting 11 ticks as I was trying to get out of the trade, or as I moved my stop and it executed improperly. But anyway, here we go. We started out the morning on the 4-tick range. We didn't have any trade setups. All right, we were waiting here. There was one that set up perfectly right here. I went over that. That's why I put the rules on here. Rule number 1, get a higher swing. Rule number 2, the BBC outside the box. The box is the dotted line here, okay? And we are above the dotted line, definitely outside the box. Rule number 3, we got fresh bubble, which we had right here on the chop bands. Nice fresh bubble. Okay, rule number 4 was a pullback to the BBC, and it must be clean. Right there, nice clean pullback to the BBC. And number 5 is ended with an MIT order rounding the BBC up to the nearest tick. Normally, this would have been a perfect setup, but it was going right into the weekly trading zone, so we didn't take the trade. If we had taken it, we would have gotten in right here at 59. Our target would have been 61, so we would have been, our stop would have been at break even after we got 1 point profit in the trade, and then we would have hit our profit target there at 61. It went up to 61.25. Now I'm just saying all that if we had taken it, but we didn't take the trade because it was going right into a weekly trading zone. Over here we did not have a trade set up, okay, because by the time the BBC got outside the box, we needed a fresh bubble, and we didn't get a fresh bubble until way down here at the end of the morning session, and we couldn't take that because of this space right in here. All right, so we didn't have any opportunity there. Over here, this is an hourly chart. Let me flip that down to a 2100 tick. I'll show you the trades that set up there. This is one right here. This is the one that Dwayne took this morning. All right, so I'll make that yellow. The trades that were taken live are yellow. Okay, Dwayne took that trade right there. That's where he got the 2 points that you saw. Price got on the other side of the BBC. I'm sorry, the other side of the MA1. But it hadn't gone a good 5 points from here. We were expecting it to get down to 56.25 down here. Okay, it hadn't done that at that time. So this little bump right here, I don't think anyone was interested in taking that trade at the time. Okay. It did drop back down below there, and there was another shorting opportunity in here, right there. I didn't take that trade. Dwayne didn't take that trade. I don't know if anybody, I think some of our partners might have taken that trade, but anyway, that was another trade setup right there. Okay, price did end up dropping down from here to the 6 point, the full 6 point move right here. All right, and now you can see it's given us an opportunity on the long side here. Using just the naked MA1, what you would be looking for is a 5 point move from 1355. You expect it to get up to 1360, back up here to the zone. Okay, that's what you should anticipate at this point. from that one trade setup. Now there was one other thing this morning that we had noted. We had this gap in here, and his price was dropping down. There used to be a triangle right in here, and I had drawn a trend line up the bottoms. You can see how it followed this all the way down until it filled the gap right here. It filled the gap almost to the tick. It missed it by one tick, and then it started to get back on the other side of the trend line. You can see it's going really, really sideways right here, really choppy. But we'll see where it's going to go. If it's going to go up or if it's going to work its way down to the line in the sand before it bounces up. I would anticipate it moving probably back to the zone, but we're sort of right in the middle of the zones right now. The 10,000 contract, there was, well, I marked it in brown on the 10,000, but it was actually on the 2100 tick, same spot. After the bearish cross, we had the cycle drop down below 50 and a pull back up to the MA1 right there. That was a Mike R trade. For those of you guys who are partners who know Mike, that was his trade setup right there, and that worked out just fine. And it also gave a little help to the naked 2100 tick trade that was going short right here. Okay. Over here on the YM, I took this trade this morning. Okay, this was the second one that I took that I got a break even on, and it did drop down to here eventually. It dropped down here and gave me, basically gave me my 8 ticks back, or 7 ticks back that I had lost, and then it came back up and took me out of break even before it dropped down and did what I had anticipated it doing. Getting down to the zone here. Okay. Now we looked at a bunch of different things today in the live trading room. A lot of it based on what we looked at last night in the partners meeting. I was trying not to bring too much in and introduce too much all at once because I didn't want to confuse everyone. But I'll bring over the Russell right now so you can take a look at some trades that set up there. This right here was the trade I took on the Russell this morning. Okay. I'm not going to get into what happened, but I should have had some profit here. I should have had significant profit here. But there was a technical difficulty that I had, and I ended up getting a little bit of profit on it. But the entry was here when we had this full divergence right here. This line right here turned down, and we closed below the MA1. That was the entry right there. And you can see it dropped from my entry. I think I was in here at, what was I in at? I was in at 28.8, I think, is where I was in, 28.8. And it dropped all the way down here to 26.1. So that's 2.7 points, 27 ticks, $270 a contract, and I had 8 contracts on. So 270 times 8, it's $2,160 in that move. I got 110, but I'm not going to get into that. Over here, we have bullish divergence right now. Okay. But it's a little bit messy in here. We have a double top in place. What I would anticipate seeing here is another roll up of this right here, and then that would give us, with a close up above the MA1 here, that would give us probably a push up in all the markets. All right, you can see it looks like this. It looks like my DT Pro is not even working right now. The markets are so slow. It looks like it's not even logged in, but it is. I know, it's strange. But that was the Russell. Now let me jump over here to the 6E. Similar stuff on the 6E. You can see this morning from the open there was this nice move here with the divergence right there. Nice move up over here. Nice move down. And when I say nice move, we're talking about a lot of ticks right here. This is 31.64, and it dropped all the way down here to 31.42. So that's 22 ticks. That's the equivalent of 5 points on the ES. 5.5 points on the ES. That's significant. Okay. There were a couple in here that didn't work out so well. Right here was one, I believe. Right here. Right here was one. Okay, your risk would have been down below here. That didn't work out. And right in here, it's just a little messy right now. But it's giving us some bullish divergence right now. It's starting to put together bullish divergence. What I mean by that is just on this indicator alone, You see how these are diverging from each other, these two lines? That is divergence. So what you look for is for the black one to roll up and for the price to close on the other side of the MA1. Alright, we'll see how that develops over the next few minutes. The trade that I did take on the YM that lost this morning was right here. Okay, now I ended up missing this trade this morning. This was a nice move down. We had divergence. It moved right down. I took the follow-up one over here when we had divergence, and it moved down right here. All right, it rolled over right here and closed down below the MA1. I took the short right there. It came back up, stopped me out, and then it went in the direction that I had anticipated, like this. All right. Now you can see there were a couple other opportunities in here with the divergence going up right there, right over here going down. This one on the short side right here, your risk would have been up above here, so you would have had some profit initially, and then it would have come back right up to your risk, not through it, but to it. It wouldn't have stopped you out, and then it would have dropped down and given you some nice profit. Okay, another one right over here that I didn't mark up, and another one that's actually just going on now, suggesting it's going to move up. So there's a lot of things suggesting it's going to move up right here. Okay, that was the YM. And that is pretty much the whole morning for us. I don't know if anybody has any questions. Robert says he just made 8 ticks, 4 ticks, 2 contracts, 8 ticks total on the 2100 6E. Is that right? I think so. All right. That is it, guys. Does anybody have any questions? If you do, throw them out there. If not, then I'm going to stop the recording. All right. No questions coming in.